to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. This is part of our Community Election Connection 2020. Engage and activate. Well, as you know, there has been now, according to most of the major news agencies and states that have reported, there is now a president-elect, although that is still being challenged in the court system. We've seen so far that Nevada has essentially thrown out all of the lawsuits that were filed. We'll see what happens in the rest of the states. And been an interesting election year. And we're going to continue that with that frame of mind and the thought that the differences in federal policies and the impact that that has on our communities is something of importance. And we've been excited to engage our audiences, both our community audiences and our youth through our Student Election Connection to be more involved in the electoral process. And we have an election coming up here in Seattle. It's the Seattle chapter of the NAACP, where we'll get a president eventually. There are currently 3 candidates, Deontay Damper, who we'll be talking to tomorrow, and Erwin Chappelle, who we'll be talking to tomorrow. And today, we're going to give you an opportunity to meet Carolyn Riley-Payne. Ms. Payne, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
And should I call you Ms. Riley-Payne or Ms. Payne? What would you prefer?
Oh, you can call me Carolyn.
Carol. Okay, well, I will call you Carolyn. Well, thank you. And welcome to the program. Excited to get to know more about you and share more about you with our community. Seattle King County NAACP. The mission of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People is to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights of all persons and to eliminate racial hatred and racial discrimination. And it seems like, in particular, we know that with what happened, I believe it was March 30th in the first protests or May 30th, with George Floyd, that racial issues have become front and center. And once again, African Americans showed the world what racial tension was and what empathy looked like. And this country responded and reacted. Now, since then, those protests have taken on a number of different issues, and maybe again, that's important. But the spark for it was once again Black people saying enough is enough, and the world watched. The NAACP is an historical organization that has, again, if you just heard me as you're listening on the air, watched out for the rights of all people, and in particular African Americans, due to racial discrimination. And it's something that during this time, as we face these uncertain times moving forward, folks in our community are looking for resources. And during this pandemic, it's been exacerbated. And the things that this pandemic has caused have only made it more clear that there are inequities and systemic injustices within our system. Now, some people may argue that, but it is hard to argue that we live in 2 Americas if you take a look at some of the statistics and some of the facts, which I'm not going to do right now. I would welcome to the program Carolyn. Carolyn, let's start off, Carolyn, by just hearing a little bit about your background and you, and we'll start with that. Where are you from originally?
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. First of all, I am from Durham, North Carolina, born and raised by way of Washington to see out of the civil rights, and I started this journey a long time ago. I was the vice chair of the youth council of the NAACP in Durham, North Carolina, and had some experience in the 60s with discrimination and helping to end discrimination. I am a mother, I am a wife, I'm a friend, I'm a sister. I love this community. I have been here for a long time, long enough to call it home. I have done many things in the community. I have been a leader in the community. I helped form the Blacks in Government Region 10. I did the training. I was the co-chair of the first Martin Luther King dinner that we used to have in Seattle in the 70s, etc. Joe Black was our first guest speaker. I was the co-chair of that event. I have had lots of experiences. I know what it means to be discriminated against. I saw the signs, color, the water fountain, white. I was the one that had my friends and sisters stand at the top of the stairs so that I could drink out of the water fountain, because I couldn't believe that something was different in the water, but I wanted to make sure. So I did that. That's who I am. I am a Delta sister. I am, like I said, I'm a mother, but I am more than that. I am a friend to this community. I have worked very hard to advance all people. I have been federally employed women. I have been a national officer in that organization. Homeless women. I have been the chair of the Jubilee Women's Center here in Seattle. There, that community. I am now the liaison with the tiny village in Cherry Hill on Cherry and 22nd, called the Spirit Village. So that's who I am. I am all of those things rolled into one. I'm the one that had the hit on the head by the police officer and got a concussion when I was 14 years old, because I was singing "We Shall Overcome," because I wanted to help integrate a coffee shop so that my mom could go and have a cup of coffee and not have to take the coffee to go. So that's who I am. Should I continue? Because I can go on and on and on about,
well, we'll
my life as to get to this point. So
what do you see as the primary role of the NAACP right now? Again, you heard me talk a little bit earlier about the current federal policies that have been in place and enacted, and a new Supreme Court justice that could have long-term effects. Again, rioting, protests all over the country. How do you see the role of the NAACP interacting with all of these things that are going on right now? And again, you put into that the confusion into is do we have a president-elect? Was there something nefarious going on? Where should the NAACP fit into all of this?
right where we are, we're fitting in at the point of what we've always done. We are where the action is. We're helping make decisions. We help propel Biden and Harris to the White House. Here locally, we are doing the things that to keep our community informed. We are here to make sure that laws are enacted, and we are here to make sure that when they are enacted, that they're carried out properly. We still discrimination, as we know, is why alive and well. So when you read what the mission was of the NAACP, the anti-lynching, and we just don't lynch people on trees right now, but we're still lynching Black people. So we are here to be the voice for the community in partnership with. It's a lot of things going on. It's a lot, and the Black community is diverse in itself. So it takes a village. That is very true and very clear, that it takes all of us, all of the organizations, Black organizations, working together, moving forward together to make an impact. And what we do as the NAACP is do what we do best. We fight discrimination in the courts as well as streets.
What are some of the again, just getting to know you a little bit more? What are some of your
Yes.
hobbies? What are some of the things that you like to do with Carolyn time?
Oh, wow. Once upon a time, I would have said ski, but if I get on skis now, they would have to call the law and the medics. But I do like being out in the outside, and I did like skiing when I skied. I like reading. I like me time. I like walking on the beach. I love being by the water, just sitting and relaxing and meditating. I like to play cards, and I like to play well play games, but I really, really, really like playing cards. So and have I learned that at home, but I also learned it at a HBC, sitting in the dorm. So yes.
Now, I have to ask you this. What are your thoughts on the Seahawks? Or do you have any?
Oh well, where do I start? I like the Seahawks. I love the Seahawks. I think that we need to get some defense. We need to be able to hold the line. But Russell can't keep taking those hits either. So we got to do something to shore up that he can continue to take the not to take hits.
Mhm.
Um, I think that they're they they were off to a good start, and I'm optimistic that we're gonna get right back up. And next week will be our chance to win. But I love the Seahawks. Yes.
My guest is Carolyn Riley-Payne, running for president of the Seattle King County chapter of the NAACP. This is just an opportunity for folks to get to know Carolyn, know a little bit more about her background. And again, in these times where the NAACP, has historically played a critical role to understand who that leadership is and where that leadership sees this country going. And again, having said that, what are your thoughts, Carolyn, right now on some would say a youth movement that is leading protests that is a potential paradigm shift away from leadership of the past? What is your view right now on specifically youth leadership with all of the things that we're facing in this country right now?
Well, I embrace that. I think that the youth should be and are a part. I spent my life working with youth and developing leadership in them and helping them see a future when they didn't see one. I've been very active over the years with the youth programs here in Seattle, and we have impacted thousands of people, young people that have come through that program called AXO. You may have heard of it, cultural Afro-Academic Cultural and Technological Scientific Olympics, and we named it the Olympics of the Mind. And it is so I think that youth, there is a place for youth working alongside of, quote, as you call it, the established, um, the established organizations that are out there now. And our organization has a youth component. So I think that we cannot survive without the one without the other. I think that I invite them, encourage them to step up and work with them to be the voice. And I can follow as well as I can lead. And that's what we do. And that's how we do it in the NAACP.
What are your thoughts, Carolyn? We've heard a lot recently about white allies and what that means, and how to engage and how to involve, and what is that role? What are your thoughts from the to be president of the NAACP about working across cultures, and I'm talking about our Hispanic communities, our Asian communities, and yes, our white communities as well. What are your just general thoughts about that?
Well, currently, as the president of the Seattle King County NAACP, we have our allies working with us, beside us. And in the NAACP, we have always had all types of people, colors, nationalities working in NAACP. There's enough work to go around, and we need all the help we can get. So we don't exclude anybody. So as far as working with them, having them, they're a vital part right now of our organization. They are work beside us, along sometimes leading the activities that we do. And we embrace that. We embrace anyone that is interested in improving the conditions of Black people and people of color in this community and in this world. We want them to be with part of us. We invite them to be a part of us. It is our, as African Americans and as the NAACP is an African American people of color, colored people. So that's everybody. So it's a place for them. We can't afford to exclude anyone from working to make this world a better place. And as you know, this world is now going to change. It's changing the complexion. It's not white. It's people of all colors, and so we embrace that.
And as
So I think that as the NAACP in the city, we'll do what we always have done. Embrace those people that are anyone that is wanting to improve the conditions of the people in the Seattle King County area and in the world. Because we reach beyond Seattle King County. As you know, the NAACP is all over the world.
and are there things, if you were elected permanently as president, what are some of the things that you would do to, I guess, embrace these relationships, or are things kind of status quo right now, and the way they're going is fine? Are there additional ways that you could see to improve these relationships, if that's the goal that you have in mind? What are some of your thoughts about that?
Well, the status quo is never okay. You always have to be changing. This is a changing world. Nothing stays static. So as we move forward, we are open to making changes. We are open to doing things differently. Sometimes it's okay to do things the same way, but moving forward, what we want to do is make sure that we are embracing the total community, and that we are doing what the community needs us to do. This is your community. NAACP is a community organization. And although it's a volunteer organization, people sometimes forget that. And so I will be encouraging people to join us, make us better. Come see, if you see something, hear something, want something, don't just talk about what we're not doing. Come and work with us to make it a better place, to make it fit what we need it to fit. Because sometimes, like everything, you have to change, or sometimes you go back and get an old coat and put on it because it's warm or whatever. That's what we have to do in the NAACP, and that's what we have to do in this city. This city has changed so much in the last year, in fact. You don't have to go back 20 years, just in the last year, last 6 months it's changed. So it's ever changing, and we have to make sure that we stay up with the change. And what we will do is whatever is necessary to meet the challenge.
My guest again is Carolyn Riley-Payne, running for president of the Seattle King County chapter of the NAACP. Again, I mentioned earlier, Karen, the pandemic has had an effect on the entire country. What would you say that impact has been specifically in Seattle King County on our Black community?
Oh, we have been the hardest hit. The pandemic has impacted us as in numbers of the people have been impacted with that's infected, the people that have died, the number of people have died. It has shown the digital divide that we have in education. It has shown in housing, the kinds of impact that it's had has been devastating. As we get calls every day about the impact of COVID-19 on our community. We are no different than what you hear across the country with the impact, except that it is home, and we see it firsthand. We see the number of homeless people that has increased in our city, the need for beds in the hospitals, the need for medical care, and in our education, the lack of services, wraparound services for our kids, as well as the lack of technology in our homes. We have to do, that's one thing that in Seattle, we need to do better in this, in Seattle. We should not, with all the tech companies and all the tech things that are going on in our city, no child mother should have to worry about not having internet for her kid to study or to go learn, to go to school and not have a computer. And yes, while the school district, for example, furnished computers, was that enough? What else did we need to be doing? Do we need to be doing it as a community? We can't always rely on somebody else to do it. As a community, I mean collective community, but specifically the African American community, we need to be looking at what we can do better to enhance the learning for our kids. We have to embrace our kids and make sure that they have what they need, and insist that the school districts all over the state do what they need to do to educate our children. So the pandemic has brought forth what we already knew, that there was a disparity, great disparity. And now we just see it firsthand in your face every day.
Are there groups within the Black community that you have seen during this pandemic who you applaud their effort during this time when, again, it's been a crisis and folks have been asked to step up? And who and what are those relationships that you think are important to build on?
There are lots of community in our community right now that are doing good work. And I would say anybody out there working, trying to call attention to what's going on or doing anything is doing good work. You want me to name some? I could,
You don't have to. It's just up to you. Just a general question, just in case
oh, okay. Well,
you thought
for
that there were
example,
some things going on.
the sororities
Hmm.
are doing excellent work. My sorority, Delta Sigma Theta, is out working with the community. All sororities, I mean, all the Greek organizations are doing great things in the community, working with getting our community what we need. The health, the Lauren Miller Bar Association, for example, and then in the health group, Mary Mahoney, that group, Defund Seattle, Equity Now, all of those groups are doing outstanding work leading us through. Matter has done a great deal into bringing the spotlight on what's happening in our community. So working together, I think it's community groups are making a big difference. And those are just a few off the top of my head that I know. And what we're doing is we're building partnerships, and that's what that's because that's what the NAACP has always done. It's not about Carolyn Riley-Payne, who is currently the president or running for president, or anybody else that's been in this role or want to be in this role. It's about the organization in its entirety and working and building bridges and building relationships with other groups to get things done. Because you know, as well as I do, that you can do more uh, when you have more people moving together doing the same thing. And you might have differences of opinion of how to get there, but the goal is still the same. And as long as you can have the goal, you have that goal and you're working, moving together in the same direction. It's like a family. That's what we are. In this Black community, we are a family. And we, like sisters and brothers, we fall out. And your cousin, you see your cousin on the street and you go, okay, well, all right, I'm gonna hide this time. But then you'll see them. That's what we do. You come back together, you're building relationships, and that's what we're working on doing. Continuing the partnerships that has been established.
And again, thank you for taking this opportunity to let us get to know you a bit. And I'm going to ask the same question of the other two who were running for candidates at all. But on that note, what would you say about something good about the other two candidates, both of them, as we're doing this and we're talking about leadership here? What would you say a couple of the remarkable aspects are about both Deontay and Erwin, who are also running for president?
Yes. It's always good in a healthy in an organization when you have more than one person running for an office. That means that they have a love for the position, the love for the organization. And I would say that both of those gentlemen have that. They both love this organization, or they wouldn't work as hard in the community as they do. Results, getting the results that they want. All three of us have different styles, but the leading, coming forth and leading, you have that for yourself as far as concerned. But I think that both that are different. Deontay, Deontay is lively. He's got the energy to be all over. He shows up in all over the place. Erwin is conservative. You see him. He's moving forward behind the scenes and making things happen. And so we have two good candidates running. I should say, two good opponents for this position. So I look forward to our continuing to work together, because currently we're on the executive committee together. And I think we have, under this past year has been a difficult year, as you know, and we have done some marvelous, outstanding things in the community as we try to move forward for healing within the community and within the organization, getting information out to the community, being that information center that is giving correct information that about impacting Black lives and what we're doing with this pandemic. We've informing people in the electoral process, having forums. We did the first judicial forum because people don't think about looking at more than just the president. Coming up in January, when we have it, as we start the season for the new mayor and all of it, we will be looking at and offering opportunities for people to learn more about the candidates and the things that impact us. So those gentlemen are very good executive committee members, and they bring a lot to the table.
And I want to give you, we're almost out of time here. I want to give you a minute for final words. And thank you for coming and sharing this time with us. And I'm sure you know that here on Rainier Avenue Radio, we did like 15 different debates, everything from congressional, legislative, judicial, state executive office. And the goal, again, is just to inform our communities. We don't tell people what to think, but to provide them with information so that they can decide and discern for themselves. And that's why we're glad to have you here this morning. But I want to give you the opportunity for any final words here in about a minute before we wrap up.
Thank you. Well, the final words that I will say is to the community at large about the NAACP and about me is that I am a proven leader. I'm here to serve. I am looking forward to continuing the efforts that I have started in this last 6 months that I have been the president. And before then, when I was serving on the executive committee, I am looking forward to the opportunity to do bigger and better things as we move forward in Seattle. And I thank you for the opportunity to come on and talk a bit about things about stories about who I am and what has happened to me. And thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
All right. You will be hearing from Erwin Chappelle tomorrow at 11, from Deontay Dapper tomorrow at 11:30. And then on Friday from 1 to 3, we will be hosting a debate right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Again, providing you with more information so that you will know who the leadership will be for your NAACP. And just again, trying to connect our communities to leadership. And you know what? If you want to vote, you can have a vote. I'm sure we'll at some point talk with the NAACP about how that can happen. Maybe it's a membership-based organization vote. But this is who represents our community. That's it. That's all the time we have. I'll be back with you tomorrow at 11 to talk with Mr. Chappelle. And remember, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are probably right. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. We're out. Peace.